World War First. In the First World War, the US was an important supplier to other Allied countries as millions of the European peasants were in the military. The rapid expansion of the fields with the display of the trucks and the Model T cars and the tractors has led to the agricultural market to extraordinary size. During World War First, prices went up and farmers borrowed heavily to buy their neighbors and expand their housing. This gave them a lot of debt, which led to a decline in the farm prices in the 1920s. In the 1920s, since the 1934, low prices and the low high debt were a major problem for the farmers of the all regions. Since the inception of the U.S. National War Garden Commission in 1917, the government has encouraged Victorian gardens, agricultural gardens, in private gardens, and public parks for personal use and war efforts. By the end of World War I, production of these gardens exceeded 1.2 billion. During World War II, gardens of victory were encouraged when food shortage was rationed. 1920s 1919 sheet music cover in a famous song from the 1990s Tin Pay Alive. US soldiers returning from World War I were asked, or well, will they keep them on the farm when they have seen Perry? As the song indicated, many did not live on the farm. Youth farms caused tremendously migrant to the nearby cities and small towns. The average distance was only 10 miles, 16 kilometers. Few went to more than 100,000 cities. However, with the widespread use of tractors, other heavy equipment, and sophisticated techniques by counting nuts agents, agriculture was increasingly mechanized, employed by state agricultural colleagues and funded by the federal government. In the early 1920s, the U.S. agricultural economy grew rapidly due to the new technologies and especially mechanization. The war ended the competition with the Europe and Russia, and American agricultural goods were being shipped all over the world. New technologies such as the combine harvesters mean that highly efficient farms are largely large and gradually smaller families. Farms that have long been models have been replaced by larger and more entrepreneurial firms. Despite this increase in the size of the fields and the magnitude of the capital, much of the agricultural production was continued by family-owned enterprises. The worldwide created an environment for agricultural product prices to rise when European countries increased their demand for exports. Farmers enjoyed an era of prosperity as the production of American farm to fill the Gulf increased rapidly as the European fighters found themselves unable to produce enough food when the war was over. Supply to Europe and agricultural market increased rapidly. Prices were reduced due to the supply production, which led to market condition and farmers' quality of life. In the 1920s, worse, millions of the farms had taken out mortgage loans to buy their neighbors' properties, and now they are unable to meet this financial burden. After the wartime bubble and land prices came to an end, and when peasants used the high prices to buy neighboring farms at high prices, suffered heavy debt. However, farmers attribute the collapse of foreign markets and the effects of the protective tariffs